am I rolling in it this month?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll buy the Grillo pickles instead of the
God, you guys
store
introduced
brand.
me to Grillos.
We
And
do love the Grillos.
You should always get Grillos, even if you're
Right?
feeling poor that month.
Yeah, for real. Welcome to Friends on Purpose.
Where two friends talk about life, love,
And finding purpose. But yeah,
I think you like
I
a
don't know.
craft beer, but you also like a Miller.
A
or
Miller,
what-
right. Well, this is what I'm talking about. There's tiers. Like, what am I in the mood for?
Yeah.
What can I afford? What can I make the most of my money at? So Miller would be like, it's like $20 for
A 30
case of
rack.
30.
Yeah.
Do I want a beer every day after I get home from work?
The whole month.
Yeah.
You're like,
for
go
each
have
day.
a breakfast beer. Because Miller's a nice way to make yourself feel like you're rolling in it when you're not.
Also, I do buy Miller because I was just totally sold by their campaign to buy back their pinup advertising,
Yep.
like their pinup girls,
Yeah.
and buying back other companies like
Right.
soft porn calendars.
Yeah.
All of these kind of like
You were
every advertisement where they're using
women's naked bodies.
the
as
sexualization of women
Right.
to sell their product. They bought back, they turned into compost, and then they gave it to women brewers to brew more beer for
That was
themselves.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just thought that was really cool. And
Yeah.
and so when I'm buying cheap beer, it's Miller that I buy.
And I obviously made fun of you for having Miller, and then when I had it at your house, I was like,
Yeah.
you know what? It was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
But this is not a beer podcast.
This is not.
This is not what we're here gathered
Today, I actually get to be the interviewer.
Yeah.
And I don't know that we have a question necessarily, but we do want to talk about some recent developments in your life
Yeah.
that I found highly entertaining to listen to because
Yeah.
it's so not like you.
I know.
When it comes to talking about life, love, and finding purpose, I think it checks the boxes.
Totally.
So tell us, what is new in your life?
Well, Eric, I'm glad you asked. We're now talking in the middle of winter. It's January, beginning
Yeah.
of the new year, and about 6 months ago, I changed jobs.
Yep.
So I had been working at a job that had me traveling to Chicago quite frequently. It was like a hybrid remote thing, post-pandemic thing. And that job, which wasn't really sparking joy for me. And so I found this new, very different but related career path from going from working at like a huge research university in the middle of Chicago to a small high school in rural Maine.
Mm-hmm.
And the
Which
coolest
is-
part,
Which is totally up your alley. It's like
Yeah,
your speed.
totally.
You love. I mean, you did the same thing with Boston to
yeah,
the college in Vermont.
That's right, to a
love
small college. I do.
that kind of community, that kind of vibe.
Yes, that's right. It is very in line.
I was very happy for you when you told me.
Yeah,
about
and
that.
a lot of people that I told that I was like, I got this job, people were like, wait, that sounds perfect. So there were these like things that started to click into
Yeah.
place. But the coolest part about that transition was that I it's a public high school job, and so I got the summer off
Yeah.
as soon as I got the job. And
Lucky.
I had 2 months vacation from the old job.
Oh, nice.
And I was getting
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, because I elected to get paid with
Hell
this
yeah.
new job over the summer.
Yeah.
Like spread my paychecks out over 12 months. So I was like getting paid by 2 jobs at once to
Yeah.
be off.
Yeah.
So I had zero cares in the world. I was like getting a paycheck to just chill.
Yeah.
It's summer. It's Maine. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was just having this
That's incredible.
amazing summer.
Yeah.
And what that led to was like I was just a lot more meditative and quiet, and I was like swimming in the lake near our house like every day. I like
Yeah.
became the mayor of that little
Uh-huh.
zone. I was like seeing all the kids and all the
Yeah.
parents and like the guys who were fishing, and just being, like was able to be there and really just like in the water and quiet. And it was so
Yeah.
amazing. Um, and so, but like with that quiet time and that meditative time, I was just much more aware of myself and like everything else going around me. And I had been noticing but not really paying that much attention to that the like 3 months prior to that, to the job transition and this quiet time, I had been having these dreams about my grandma. And my
Yeah.
grandma died in 2018 and we were very close. And in these dreams, I would like for the first few months, would notice her, and I would have this lucid moment where I'd be like, "That's so weird that Grandma's in this dream. Like she shouldn't be in this dream."
Right.
And then after like 3 months of that, I started having these dreams where Grandma would show up, and I would
This
have the
is
lucid.
this
Huh.
is during your time off or
This was kind of like the for the first 3 months was like March, April, May.
okay.
Like before I got the job,
Okay.
and then the quiet time started in the job transition, whatever. And then I started having the dreams where I was
Okay.
like, "Oh, great! It makes sense that Graham is in these
Were you
dreams."
dreaming often when you were
I've
working?
always remembered
You're a
my dreams.
you're a
Dreams are
dreamer.
like, oh
Okay,
yeah,
interesting. Yeah.
yes. And sometimes I write them down, and like most
Yeah.
annoyingly to my partner, mostly I wake up and I'm like, "Can I tell you about my dream?"
Yeah,
And she's like,
which is
"Okay."
the most annoying thing to listen to. Don't tell me about your dream. I don't
And I'm like,
freaking care.
and then I turned into a dolphin.
And then guess what? It's
Yeah.
like,
And
so
guess who was
what?
there?
You know, it's like a movie that doesn't exist. I don't
Right.
care.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be
Yeah.
able. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. So, like, shout out to the partners out there who have
Right.
people who partner to
That's
people who
me.
remember their dreams. So, yeah. So then I start like remembering these dreams that like grandma is supposed to be in, and I just like didn't think anything of it, whatever. And then I'm meditating, and I like remember saying to my friend while we were swimming, I was like, I don't know, I just feel like so dropped into myself, and I'm quiet, and I'm like just being okay with
What do you
doing
mean by
less.
meditating? Was that something new for you? Like, what did
Yeah,
that
I
practice
just
look
was
like?
like, I've meditated on and off,
Yeah.
but I think not consistently. Like I would meditate like when I was going through my divorce or like sad time. I like only like would use it when
Are
I'm
you
like, whoa.
meditating around a specific thing, or like are you
I
just being
would
quiet, and like what is that?
sometimes I would do guided meditation for like a 3 to 5 minutes. Sometimes I would do like a just like a 20 minute like half guided. Sometimes I do like walking meditation, just trying to be very intentional
Yeah.
about
Okay.
like brain
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So doing all this, I'm feeling good. I'm dropped in. I'm like, wow, everything's going to be different now. My whole life is going to change because I'm meditating. And I go down to this party with my other friend named Eric.
What?
And I like shouldn't have even said it. And so he's having this big birthday party, and there's like 75 people, and a few of us are spending the night at his house. This is down in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. And we're having a nice time at this party, and I kind of just like smack into this woman. And I'm very struck by her, mostly because she's got like tattoos everywhere. And I'm like, whoa, like cool ink. And we start chatting. Honestly, mostly we're chatting about like geopolitical stuff, like nothing really about ourselves.
Right.
Except I learned that she lived down in North Carolina, and I told her, I'm like, she's like, oh, do you live here in Portsmouth? And I'm like, no, I live up further north. And then like the party goes on, and she goes to bed, and I realize that she's spending the night and I'm spending the night. So in the morning we're having coffee, and I was like, oh, so sorry, I realized I didn't even ask you, like, what do you do? And she was like, oh, I'm a psychic medium. And I was like,
Psychic medium.
yes, a
Okay.
psychic
Yeah.
medium. And I didn't really know.
Interesting.
Yeah, I didn't really know. It's like not like oh, I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I'm a
Right.
firefighter. Um,
So did she go to school for that?
she kind of did. So
Yeah. Really.
yeah. She used to be a television producer, and I'll just like plug her at the end of this. I'll share her name and her
Sure.
website because she's pretty dope. Anyway, I'm kind of like struck by that, and I was like very aware that
Yeah,
I
like
didn't
say
want to
more.
be extractative. Like I didn't want her to be like, are there any
Right.
ghosts around my head right now? So I was like, how do people find you? Like
Yeah.
just like asking about her business model a little bit, and then I ended up driving her to the airport because she was flying back down to North Carolina, and she gave me her phone number and she was like, here's my information, like check in if you ever want to talk more about this stuff. And I was like, okay. So I went home and I immediately booked a session with her, and
Why?
I was so excited. Why?
Why? Yeah.
um
That seems so outside of
I know, I
you.
just was kind of, oh well, I guess I'm leaving out
You're like
another.
very okay. So like for those of you who don't know Elaine, Elaine's very academic, very I would say
Literal.
literal, logical.
Yeah.
Uh, you had your experience in religion as a young person,
Yep.
and that was not for you.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so religion, spirituality, however you want to
Yeah.
categorize that. When you told me, I'm like, wait, you
I know.
immediately booked
Well,
so
so I was a
it seemed
little,
kind of out of the blue for
it was
you.
totally out of the blue. I was a little bit primed because I listened to the first season of the Telepathy Tapes, which
Interesting.
is a podcast I think I told you about that.
I don't remember.
Yeah, it like explore. It's a brilliant, I think, a really fantastic podcast. Kai Dickens is a journalist turned podcaster who's exploring. She started by exploring nonverbal autistic individuals and their ability to communicate with other nonverbal autistic individuals through telepathy. Their caregivers, their families, their teachers, like all of these people, and some
Huh.
scientists who are like essentially not screaming it from the rooftops because of like shame and ridicule, but also just being like, yeah, we know, like this
Mm,
happens. And like
mm,
the whole season of that first podcast talk like
interesting.
explores that. So I was in this
Okay.
mindset where I was like, it when I listened to this podcast, I was like, it everything they're talking about, and like there was no doubt in my mind that these individuals who they were like communicating with via this technique called spelling, where they like tap out letters and
Yeah.
words on
Yeah.
electronic or otherwise boards, and also their caregivers and family members. I was like, that there's no way I don't believe what they're saying. Like this makes total
Right.
sense. But then what does that actually mean? So I was kind of in this like very open,
So
you
you've been
know,
primed to like you're already
wonder.
thinking about like yeah, what is out there
It's
that
almost like, what don't I know? Because
right,
I
yeah.
just had this sense that I was like, wait, if
It's like
that's,
inexplicable,
yeah, I'm like, if
but it kind of
that's,
opens up this whole
yeah,
side of the world,
everything.
I guess.
I'm
Yeah.
like, if that's true, what else is,
Right.
like, what
Yeah,
else
okay.
have I not been
So
like,
it's pure curiosity at this point.
totally? And that
Gotcha.
is very on brand. I'm like,
Yes,
I have a
absolutely.
question.
Yeah.
Let me follow this rabbit hole.
Ooh, okay. Jab.
So I have no idea what to expect, and I go for my session with Krista, and it's on Zoom, obviously, because like
Mm.
you don't need to be in the same person as a medium. Same, you don't have to be in person with a medium. It's all in an upstairs space.
Yeah.
So we sit down, and
The
she's like,
original Zoomers.
yeah, exactly. They've been
Yeah.
zooming out there for a while. She was like, I'm going to pull some tarot cards and some rune stones just to kind of like set the stage for almost just like a little like warm up exercise as to for her to
Yeah.
get to know me a little and like who I am and reflect some things back to me. And then she was just like, okay, let's get to it. Like, let's open up your basically like the waiting room for who your spirit guides are. And
Uh-huh.
I was like, okay, I don't know, like who's gonna be in there?
Yeah.
And she's like, whoa, okay, someone's coming in right away. It is your maternal grandmother, my gram. And
Who
okay,
you've been
she's
dreaming about.
who I've been dreaming about. And the
Mhm.
first and again, like I just, people, I don't care if people believe me or not. It's just like I'm a skeptical person in general. I'm an enthusiastic person, but I'm pretty much like, well, man,
Yeah.
I'm like really allergic to feeling like I'm getting got. Like I don't
Right.
want to be duped.
Yeah.
So I was very careful not to like overshare anything with the medium. I wanted
Uh-huh.
to make sure I wasn't like saying
Being
yes or
conned.
no when stuff was
Right.
happening. So, but like right off the bat, she's like, oh, your maternal grandmother came in here and she wants me to tell you right away that yes, that was her in your dreams.
Mhm.
And she's so excited that you noticed her. And I was like,
Yeah.
what? And I was like immediately bawling because it's just like this moment where
Really?
there's like no
You were
way.
crying.
Oh my God. Yeah. I was like,
Okay.
what? And so then I had a million questions for her and we kind of
I
like,
I will say that also to our audience, Elaine is not super active on social media either. So it's not
mm-mm.
like this woman is
I have no
doing her
social media
research,
accounts.
yeah,
I
on you
have,
and
well,
finding
excuse me, I
personal.
do have a LinkedIn. So
Yeah, yeah.
if that gives you any indication of my social
So
media
that's like
presence.
the equivalent, or the most that's out there on Elaine.
Yeah,
Is just her
I have no,
professional
yeah, she
career.
couldn't, I mean, and again, even if she could have Googled me and found out that I have a
Right.
grandma who's deceased, how would she have known that I've been seeing her in my dreams?
Right.
Okay, maybe let's just give her the benefit of the doubt and say I mentioned it while I was at that party with her.
And your grandmother's been passed for
Since
has passed.
2018.
Yeah, so it's not like
Not recent.
a new thing that's
No, it
still
was pretty
fresh in there.
unremarkable. It's not like it would have been in the news,
Right.
like whatever. So
Okay.
and I had been it's like it was like the most present thing in my mind. And I didn't know that like a spirit guide could be my grandma. I was like, are they angels? Like, what is a spirit
I've
guide?
never even heard of that term necessarily
So
outside of like like ancestors coming to like
right.
kind of.
So I'll
I
just
don't know
give you
what
the
kind of
two
cultures
sentence
do that.
primer.
Yeah.
As the medium shared with me, and as I've since obviously I've done a real deep dive here, and I've done a lot of reading on this. Every human soul is born into this world with like 3 to 5 spirit guides. These are your like core team members who are there to essentially help you achieve a arc in your life
Okay.
on your time here on earth. It might be to be kinder to yourself, it might be to be kinder to others, it might be to care for the earth, like whatever your thing on earth is.
Mm-hmm.
This team is here to help you, guide you in all these different ways to like become your best self.
It's so funny to hear you say.
I know it's so silly. So spirit guides can be ancestors. They can be past lives. They can be
Okay.
like interdimensional light beings. They can be all sorts of different things.
Past
So,
lives, so like your former incarnated self.
Uh-huh.
Interesting.
yeah, I met a couple of those. So, I'm just bringing you back to like I was kind of like overwhelmed with emotion
Yeah.
that like it was my gram, and I love my gram so much, and there was just all this thing that flooded over me. I was like, wait, like I can ask her things, I can talk to her, and the way that it kind of like felt was like we're on Zoom like this, but it would be like if I were on the phone and you were watching me, and I was like, okay, Eric, hold on one second. Okay.
Like you're relaying the message for me.
Okay. And then like it was like she was like on the phone
Yeah.
with someone else.
Tell Elaine that I want
Yeah.
her to know this. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Interesting.
So my gram shared with me some like beautiful things and like some stuff that just there's no way she could know. But here's a great detail. So we like move on from my gram because she goes, okay, there's someone else here who wants to speak to you, but they are not one of your spirit guides. This is kind of, rare, but not unheard of. And like, do you want to let them in essentially? And I was like, well, who is it? Like, how do I know? And she was like, it is your paternal grandfather.
Okay, so not your
My
gram's
dad,
husband.
right. My
Okay,
dad's
your dad's
dad,
Got
who died when I was much younger, and he died in
Okay.
like 2002.
Okay.
And I was like, I also was, like pretty close with him, but I was much younger when he died. So I was kind of like, yeah, we called him Bubba. I'm like, yeah, like let's hear from Bubba.
Uh-huh.
And she was like, he is coming in. He's very by the books. She's like interpreting him. She's like, he's very matter of fact. He's very, very kind of strict. He's kind of reading me the riot act about my previous alcohol and drug use. And I was like, oh. And she was like, but he's here kind of hat in hand. And I was like, About what? And she said he wants me to say first and foremost
He
he's
was saying
sorry.
he was saying that about the medium,
At first, yes. About she was kind of like, you,
criticizing her.
yeah. And just so
Interesting.
dear listeners, my grandfather was a judge.
Uh huh.
Like when she's like,
Okay.
he's so strict, he's so by the book. I'm like, yeah, he was a county seat
Okay.
for a judge. So so she was like, so he's here,
This
a
is
little
so
hat in
nuts.
hand, and he wants me to tell you that he is so sorry. And I was like, really, like, I was kind of struck. And she was like, he's showing me that you maybe shared some information with him and he didn't handle it well, and then he was killed in a car accident. And again, I was like, like, just like floored,
What did you
because
share with him?
I came out,
Oh.
and he is a Catholic, old school
Oh my
judge
god.
who was like,
Chills.
he did not handle it well.
Yeah.
And then on December 23rd of 2002, like 2.5 weeks later, he was killed in a car accident. He fell asleep at the wheel, and
Yeah.
he crossed over the median, and he was killed in a car accident.
Jesus.
And so I was like, and again, there is nothing you could Google on earth. I don't even think my mom knew that I had come out to my grandfather.
So your secret had basically died with him.
Yeah.
So you're back at square one.
Well, I had told him under not like weird circumstances, but it was kind of like I was all of a sudden like cornered a little bit, and so I came out, and I don't think I was probably ready, and my parents didn't know.
How old were you?
Like 13 or 14.
Okay.
And so it was just like, it was kind of weird circumstances, but then, and he kind of chastised me about it, and it was kind of just like shameful, whatever. And then he died, and he was just like, well, he's gone. So he says to the medium, like, he is so sorry. He didn't get it at the time, and he was like overly obsessed in his mind with like the wrong thing. Like he wasn't focusing on my happiness or my wellness, but he was kind of more like, what will other people think? And how does this even work?
Yeah.
And why? And like,
Yeah,
oh my
yeah,
God.
yeah.
And now he can, according to the medium, he's saying to her, he's like, I get it now. I understand more, and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And so I was like, and then she said, and I was like, so he is my spirit guide? And she was like, no, he's not one of your spirit guides, but he wanted me to get you this message.
Wow.
And then, so then we went on. I mean, this was like the first like 7 or 8 minutes of our hour-long session. And I was really like obviously very blown away. And then the rest of the session was I was like meeting other spirit guides, but they were not ancestors. And it was just like,
Right.
excuse me,
This is a detail I remember.
yeah, it was like I was meeting. Well, one of the spirit guides that I met was somebody who is an interdimensional being. Whose purpose is here to guide me in my spiritual path, and his name is Seth,
Okay.
obviously,
Uh-huh.
and the medium was describing him to me, and she was like, "You remember Mushu from Mulan?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "He's kind of like that." And he wants me to know, he wants you to know, wants me to tell you that you get your sense of humor from him. You should lighten up. And
Mushu from Mulan, he's the little dragon.
yeah, the little red and yellow dragon. And
Eddie Murphy's character.
That's right. Most importantly, Eddie Murphy's character. And that he's here to guide me like through my spiritual journey, and that in order for him to help me, I have to do something for him. And that was to create a little, excuse me, a little altar on my desk for him. And
there he is.
And have a little, he wanted me to have this little statuette of him, this little bell.
Okay.
And then I have this incense. There's usually some incense in here. And that's kind of what I like. It's a little ritual I have now when I meditate, is just to like say hey to him. And yeah, I
Wow.
also have a yellow Teletubby like interdimensional being. I don't remember that one's name, but that one's been with me since I was born. And apparently, the last detail I will bore you all with, this is probably like hearing about a dream,
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
is
it
that
is. But it's also funny.
there were like 34, or like now we're up to like 40 spirit guides that have signed on because
Uh,
they are recognizing, like, spirit guides are noticing that I am having I'm like, I was on a crooked path and now I'm like falling into alignment in my life.
mm,
And that means that I'm getting closer to being able to figure out how to like basically live the best version of myself,
mm.
as the best version of myself. And these spirit guides are like kind of like, oh, we'll sign back on because now she seems like she's getting it. And yeah, so
Wow.
and then I met
So
her.
that's a lot.
It
That's
was so
like,
much. It was so overwhelming.
and
Yeah.
the reaction you're having is really interesting too. Like it's really hitting a chord, you know.
Oh my
Like
gosh. Yeah.
it's
It all
touching you
felt.
deeply.
It felt really like resonant.
Yeah, and to me, it's like, I'm skeptical too,
Yeah.
having been hoodwinked by quite a lot.
Religion. Yeah.
And but knowing you, it's not like you're jumping, into the deep end here and like totally transforming your life in the sense that like you're now gonna be a psychic too, or
No.
like you're joining some
Group.
new group or
Yeah.
whatever. It's like you're still Elaine.
Yeah.
You're still kind of processing these things
Oh yeah.
in the way that Elaine does, um, and it's making a positive impact. Like it's clear
I
that
think
like,
so.
you
Yeah.
know, and so what that does for me is like when I'm listening to you, it's like I'm seeing these different modes of connecting with yourself, I guess, as less. I mean, certainly there is kind of like the people taking advantage of you,
Mm-hmm.
conning you,
Mm-hmm.
money grabs, and I would say like abuses of these these
Curiosity, or
practices.
like,
Yeah,
or like
yeah,
vulnerability.
like Emily went to a psychic at the Renaissance
Oh
Fair.
right. Yeah.
Clearly,
Like
she wasn't.
terribly. Yeah.
She was terrible, and it's definitely they're there to take advantage of people, but also it's entertainment, so it's
Yeah.
people go in knowing.
Right.
All that to say is like that's not what it's been for you.
No.
It's clearly like it's having a positive impact, and so I've been thinking about it too in the sense that like even like something like tarot cards,
Yeah.
um, even or horoscopes, even if it's like kind of rigged or hokey, um, like there's still a piece of it that if you're handling it correctly can really cause you to think about yourself differently or learn something new about yourself, that I think is beneficial, and
Yeah.
and clearly it's not for everybody.
No.
um,
I mean, it doesn't
and
feel any different to me than any other modality that does
right,
promote a healthy sense of introspection, where you're like,
right,
like some people do it with a running group and some people
yeah,
journal quietly every morning, or,
yeah,
whatever. It, because what it
or
did
even like
was
personality tests,
totally,
like
yeah,
Enneagram
personality
or
test or dream
Myers-Briggs. It's like
interpretation, or,
it is what you do with dream interpretation is another example.
yeah,
But it just made me appreciate it more and
yeah.
not just write it off as
Well,
as
the thing that like I think inspired me most was so I think desperately needed and wanted the feeling you get when you realize, when you're in awe and you realize you don't have it all figured out, that that wonder and that kind of like curiosity and it feeling small because you're like, I don't get any of this. How does this?
Mm,
Like I don't even know. If you asked me how to describe how a toilet worked, I'd be like,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm like, I actually
It's
really I don't know.
yeah, it's like the example of like if you went back in time and you would tell everybody what's happening in the future, and you
You'd
know,
be
like
like,
we all have these computers in our pockets and they're like electricity. It's like, how does that work? And then you're
and
like,
you're like,
no,
you're like,
it's
there's a
magic. It's magic.
pipe and a
I don't
key
know.
at some point. I'm not sure if that was the original electricity or
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
where did
Yeah.
it go from there? I don't
Right.
know. Yeah,
Yeah.
same like with Wi-Fi on airplanes. I'm like,
Right.
where did the Wi-Fi come from? I don't know.
Yeah.
I did just learn about how fiber optics work though, because I've been obsessed with how fast my new internet
Yeah.
is. I
Yeah.
did learn about that, and that was very
Yeah.
cool. That
It's
was
light.
very
It's
easy
light,
to
right?
understand. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
light
Right.
and like
Anyway.
reflection. It doesn't matter. Point is, yes, your point that it's like, I mean, I would say that the mediumship, and as I understand it, like this woman was acting as a conduit
Mm-hmm.
because I, at this stage in my like meditation game or whatever, do not possess the skill or like I haven't exercised the muscle enough that would allow me to communicate with my my spirit guides, whoever, on my own. But
Yeah.
Krista, the medium, does have that, and she
Mm-hmm.
learned that over years. Like she kind of studied it and figured out that she had these like some like kind of inclinations towards this and then really
Mm-hmm.
exercised it and worked on it, and now it's her full-time job. Like,
Yeah.
and that's one thing, like when I was looking up like how not to get duped by medium,
Right.
I was like, look for people who it's their full-time job, if they can
Who can
sustain,
support themselves?
yeah, they can sustain a business.
Yeah. I mean,
Because
maybe that's a good.
well, one thing I would say is that
Or they're
like
just a really good con artist. You know, like.
totally, and that's like a mutual friend of ours is like, are you getting duped by our friend? And I was like, and I was like, and that all I can say is like, to your point, like whether or not she
Right,
was
and that's.
conning me,
Mm-hmm.
which I do not believe is what was going on, but if that was the case, or like maybe like mediums are actually just kooky birds who believe, like who drink their own sauce, like maybe she
Right.
wasn't
Right.
malintended, but she's just like,
She
so
believes what
yeah,
she's
exactly, like there's just
professing.
voices
Yeah.
in her head, and she's like,
Yeah.
ooh,
Right.
whatever. It made me like, it got me like reading again and like
Uh-huh.
wondering, and it got me meditating and walking outside in nature more and like
Yeah.
paying
So
more
like,
attention to
who
stuff.
cares if it's fake or not?
Yeah,
It's having the effect that you want it to.
totally,
So
and like the
and you're
worst
okay
thing,
with that.
totally, the worst thing I did
Yeah.
was buy this figurine.
Right. So like I've just recently, it's been 2 or 3 years now to where I've totally left the church,
Yep.
and there was a lot of spiritualism. I don't know what you'd call it. There's a big side of it that focused on the prophetic.
Yep.
Where it was hearing God for the future. Future predictions. People praying over you and
Right.
prophesying over
Laying hands.
yeah, but also like saying who you are and what you're going to become, and,
Oh,
and
wow.
who
Yeah.
you're meant to be, and what God is calling you to, and so there's a lot of that kind of communication, I guess, that kind of puts me off.
Yeah.
Because it's
Yeah.
it's a lot of emotionalism,
Mm-hmm.
and then when you're in a group where you're all very closely knit together,
Yeah.
there's like a lot of enmeshment that's happening to where everybody's in each other's lives, to a degree where it's just really unhealthy.
Yeah.
It's not hard to speak into somebody's life with that kind of voice, so it's easy to like pick at people's pain points or
Yeah.
or soft points, to where it feels real, but it's
Right.
actually not. I mean, it's like you're just kind of taking advantage of what you know about someone. So
Yeah.
it feels a lot like, a psychic taking advantage, doing research on you before
Right.
you interact with them. So it's
Yeah.
like,
A hot reading.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's just interesting to hear you talk about it like this, because it's like, okay, well, I know Elaine is a very reasonable person.
Yeah.
And so what it's doing for me is it's like kind of like making me not so close-minded to the possibility of a world that has like another realm built in, and I use realm loosely.
Well,
But like,
okay.
like
Yeah.
there's like, to me, it's like, okay, maybe there still is mystery to
There,
life.
well, it's like there
and
is
that kind of excites me. I know
totally.
what
And
I experienced was fake and
yeah,
even abusive at times, but
totally.
like there is still things, and like you're talking about, like with that podcast and the autistic kids,
Yeah.
you know, maybe we don't call it spiritual,
Yeah.
but there's something more that we don't know.
So I after I did this big deep dive, I like ran down. I'll use your term. I did go down a few rabbit trails, and then I did go into some rabbit holes. Like there
Look
were,
at you.
yeah, I'm expanding my vernacular. I will say I'm like looking down because I have all the books here. I read like quantum theory books about the holographic universe. I read like NASA, scientists, like big
This is
theory of
before the
everything.
medium, or
No, this
as a
is like
result?
this is all
Okay.
inspired by.
Yeah.
I've read like Rumi and like like Sufism and like a couple of like philosophy style
You got.
stuff.
I read the Tao of Pooh.
The Tao of Pooh I read.
Yeah.
Yeah, like went into like um
Because of you.
Zhuangzi and yeah, like
Yeah.
Taoism.
Yeah.
Like I did all of these because I was just like, I guess to the point that you were just saying was that like what it ignited in me, which I'm so thankful for, is that like I like pulled the wool off my own eyes. I was like, wait, we kind of grew up in this information age where we were told basically like when our parents were growing up, it was super common for scientists to say like we're reaching the end of science. Like we're figuring it all out so much so that we're like we kind of feel like we're getting close. And then in our lifetime, like way more explosion happened in the quantum space, and the more questions you ask about like how do things at the most like kind of molecular level of entire being happen, the less we understand. And like
Right.
that part is so cool because it I think is so important for there to be almost like unknowable things to keep us humble and like a little bit
And
like
curious.
curious.
Yeah.
And I it's like obviously I am like yes, science. Like I
Right.
super value.
Yeah.
Well, actually, so I took Tylenol to keep my fever down, and I was my mom's a nurse, and we're sitting there, and I was like, oh, thank God for this Tylenol. And I was like, how does Tylenol even work? And so she's like trying to explain it to me, and then we were Googling it, and in the scientific description of how Tylenol works, and like there's like science, and at the end it's like, and we're not exactly sure what
Yeah.
happens here, but we know that it reduces a fever. And I'm like, what? How do we not know how Tylenol works? Like, again, we know, and you know how to make a chemical compound that like creates this reaction, but similar to like, just these inexplainable parts of our existence and our universe and space and time. Talk about going and talking to someone about things you don't get. It's like
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
is not real. I
Yeah.
don't know. So all of those things I've been so loving. That's the cat. I've been
Loki.
so loving the awe and the wonder, and it makes me feel small in such a beautiful way that when I'm sitting out
Right.
here outside and a bird flies by, I'm like, bird, Like
Uh-huh.
it doesn't, like it's so refreshing, and it
Yeah.
feels hopeful in a kind of time where I think for, I don't know, I guess like growing up is part of that, where you're like, I'm a kid and I'm full of wonder, and I'm adult and now I'm expected to know things.
Mm.
And that arc was like, it can be really crushing and can be a bummer that like you spend more time thinking about like, do we have enough dump stickers than like, like, wait, how does the sun rise again? I, so
Yeah.
I just was so thankful, and what it has left with me is just like a deep interest and commitment to developing an inner space, like quiet,
Mm.
private,
Yeah.
internal space. And
Yeah.
for some people that might be prayer, and for me it's
Mm-hmm.
meditation, and again, some people it might just be walking in nature. I like, however you do it,
Yeah.
it has given me this real gift of like quiet
Uh-huh.
time to see what like floats up, and then a tool to allow that to then long form unfold. Like maybe something doesn't fully unfold for you for years, but if you don't ever even give yourself the time to be
Right.
quiet about it, good luck. And
Yeah. Yeah.
that's why we're doing this podcast, because I had been like quietly sitting
You're right.
for,
Right.
days and days and
Yeah. The
days and
podcast
days.
is kind of fruit of your own meditation.
Meditation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And
I
really.
can't describe how it like bubbled up. I think we talked about it in our
Mm.
first episode, but it was just
Yeah.
like I was just sitting there, had meditated, and then I was just reading in the dark by candlelight like a kooky bird.
Yeah.
Why, why? Because it was morning, and I don't like to turn on big lights
Because it
because
feels good.
yeah, it
It's
feels
calming
nice.
and it's cozy and it's yeah.
Totally. And it just was like it just floated up that
And isn't that like just a great way to live?
yeah.
Like don't you just? And I'm not saying like that specific way, but like to come to a place where you're like at peace. You come to a place where you found something
Yeah.
that's working for you,
Mhm.
and I think that's where I'm at. Whereas like I no longer have a person or a group of people telling me what the right way is, you
Yeah.
know, and I feel like I made the most of that
Yeah.
with what I had. But now that I'm like completely outside of it, I think the wonder for me now is realizing that there's so much to either learn about or explore or know that there isn't just one way, you
Right.
know, and that's Christianity. There's only one way to Christ, only
Right.
one way to heaven.
Right.
And I just don't believe that anymore. I think everyone, no one is the same. We all
Mm-mm.
have different walks of life. We all
Yeah.
think differently. Some people are more spiritually bent,
Yep.
are in tune with, that way of thinking. And there are other people who are more logical thinkers.
Yeah.
And then there are people, and then that we are all people, and that we aren't confined to just those areas we find ourselves in. Like we
Right.
can grow, we can move, like you are, like
Yeah.
you're kind of exploring this new avenue
Yeah.
that maybe 10 years ago you wouldn't have ever
I
even
would not.
come close to
Well, and I think
exploring.
what you're saying is true about like there. I guess what I am not at all ever skeptical of is exploring and finding what
Yeah.
feels right for you. What I then become really, really skeptical of is when someone decides this is the right way.
Right.
It's
Right.
like, get that away from me. No
Right.
way, because I'm following this like me and Seth are on a little
Mm-hmm.
Taoism journey right now. And if that stops feeling good and I decide to
Mm-hmm.
like pick up some Buddhist text,
And I think that's a good rule.
yeah, like
Not to be rigid or anything, but like a good rule for life, or a red flag is
yeah,
that person or that
entity.
entity that's saying this is the only way,
Yeah.
or these are the only people, or those things. I think are what hinder us from living our best lives.
Yeah. I guess context matters so much, and I think that being able to be flexible and change our perspectives is part of the point of what we're
Yeah.
here for too, is
Yeah.
to be like, is to be curious, is to be curious. And I guess like that is what's been so fun about this journey, is that I'm looking at, again, I like keep looking at all these little books I have now, because
Uh,
each one of them represents somebody else's curiosity. That's kind of them like nerding out on this one
right.
thing, and they're like, I went deep on this, and it's like,
Right.
give it to me, I want to know. To bring it all back, none of this really matters. Like whichever brand, I don't care if you want to do UFOs, near death
Right.
experiences, like
Yeah.
what the commonalities that you come away from are like so fascinating and so curious, and it is frankly so much cooler to live in awe and curiosity of it. Like, I'm not telling anyone to like go do a
Yeah.
deep dive and
Right.
like go subscribe
Right.
to anyone thing, but like it's so much cooler to be like, wait, tell me more about that, than
Yeah.
it is to be like, those crackpots, they're trying to,
Right.
like, it's
Yeah.
like
Exactly.
it's all just like,
And find your thing, right? Like
totally.
this is what last episode was about. Like, be a nerd about the thing that
Yeah.
you love, right?
Yeah.
And that's your contribution,
Yeah.
and
do it
I
for
think
you.
yes, and in sharing that and inviting people into that
Totally.
rather than pushing people away, like
Yeah.
like the geeks of the world.
Yeah.
And we all are geeks to some
In
extent,
on
right?
some little thing. Yeah.
That's where I find life in it all, you
Yeah.
know, and when we're all kind of participating in that way,
Totally.
the world is a better place. There's a good segue into kind of landing this plane.
Yes. I love
I
landing the
just
plane.
watched Pluribus, which you were talking about last week.
Yeah.
And speaking of like collective minds and
Yes. Yes.
so like it's
Did you
making
finish the whole season?
I finished the whole season.
Okay. Yes.
So to bring everyone up to speed, Pluribus is a new show that's come out on Apple TV, and basically it's like like the zombie premise of like you're infected, and if you're and it spreads, and basically everybody's infected by this one thing, but it's like quote unquote positive.
Right.
It's not like the undead. It's like you're all of a sudden in tune with everyone else. Like you're
a collective consciousness.
Humanity is a collective consciousness. They're all on the same page.
Yeah.
Except for like these 11 or 12
people, yeah.
who weren't infected for some reason. And so the rest of the world is trying to figure out why and how to get them on board, basically. And
Not against their will, of course.
Not against their will. And that's the thing. Like this collective consciousness is very positive.
Yeah.
It doesn't believe in killing.
Right.
It doesn't believe in hurting.
They can't even pick an apple if it's not.
They're vegans, essentially,
they're
right?
vegans, yeah.
And so that's the premise. It follows
Carol Sturka.
who's what, a romantasy author.
Yeah.
And her experiences of just trying to figure out what the hell is going on.
One thing I like is that the Pluribus mind, to me, holds some truths to be self-evident. And one of those is like, we don't harm anyone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it like immediately made me think of like, like capital punishment. And you're like, like going back
Like,
to
what are the
college
bottom lines here of humanity?
It's like these contradictions that are built in when we're like, it's not right to kill. If you kill someone, we're gonna kill you.
Right.
Where you're like, wait. And so there were some things that I like. It was like, okay, so we're not gonna harm one another intentionally. Like, I can get down with that if there's absolute adherence to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you start making these like little concessions here, or you see it in religion a lot, where it's like it's like everything's hunky-dory unless you question this part, and then we're not friends anymore. And just the loss of individuality
Right.
What is the value of letting live and let live with a whole bunch of yahoos just trying to do their own thing? Like, I
Right.
like my parents used to live in this neighborhood that had like a really strict HOA or whatever, and they would get
Right.
like phone calls if, like something was like weird on their
Uh-huh.
lawn. Not that they ever had any, but there were like too many leaves
Right.
on their lawn. And I was like,
Yeah.
I was so
Yeah.
like allergic
Uh-huh.
to that. And but then I'll be like driving around where I live, and I'm like, why do they need to have 5 trucks in the yard? And I like remember I'm
Right.
like, it's none of my business, like
Yeah.
it's messy, and
Yeah.
I think the show made me recognize the point that they were trying to make, which is kind of like, "Ugh, it's really messy to
Mm-hmm.
let people figure it out on their own on that level. When we get
Mm-hmm.
to like governments and laws and policies that like we all have to adhere to, that's when I started feeling like I'm like, our system is being stress tested right now about
Mm-hmm.
the like, representative democracy. It's not one person, one vote. It's like, I trust that I voted for this person who is voting on my behalf, and how
Right.
like tenuous that is. It's scary.
Mm-hmm.
It can be really
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah. It just has got my wheels turning, and I don't know. It's not that I'm looking for an answer or anything, but it's like just making me think of the world differently,
Yeah.
and and it's not simple. Obviously, it's not as simple as getting everyone to follow the rules.
No. No.
Or finding the right rules. I don't.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you watched it. I highly recommend it. I think it's worth it. I think I saw Rhea Seehorn, the main actor, and I think she might be a producer in it. She's
Great.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah.
I like the way she said that it's lean. She's like, it's lean forward, not lean back TV. Like, you're kind of like, oh my God, what's happening?
Yeah.
Makes you think a little, and that
It's the kind of media that I don't feel bad watching because it's not distracting me from what's going on.
It's not anodyne. Yeah, it's not just
Right.
like numbing you. You're just like into complacency. You're just kind of like, what is this a metaphor for?
Yeah.
Cool. So, good job landing that plane, and nice segue. Well done.
Thanks.
A+.
Appreciate it.
We are going to explore another topic next time. I'm asking you a question.
Yeah. So we can just say it. We tried recording before. we had one session before this, but we lost my video due to technical difficulties. So we were supposed to talk about me. What season of my life would I relive? Not to change it, but to just experience it again. And
it was a really cool episode.
For the better part of an hour.
Just so everyone knows.
Maybe we'll try that again.
Sure. I was going to suggest it. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, let's try that again.
Okay.
And we'll let that be our next episode.
And just, if you're listening in real time, which only 4 of you are,
thank you to our family followers.
Yeah, thank you. I believe I'm one of those streams. You might be another one, and then
you and I are 50% of our
partners.
I love it.
I told a friend about our podcast here, and she was like, "Oh, thank you. Yeah, I love it. I have this thing though where when I listen to my friends' podcasts, I have like secondhand embarrassment." And I was like, "Oh, thank you for your honesty."
Listen, I have that editing these things, so
yeah, you have to do the brutal work
Fair
of
enough.
listening to it so many times.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
Yeah, if you are family and you feel bad about not listening, please don't.
No, just hit us with
you can stop listening now.
Yep.
And
we get it.
That's just fine.
I'll just tell you about my dreams later.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Okay, cool. Talk to you later.
Great seeing you. Love you. See ya.
Bye, love you. Hey, thanks for joining. You can listen to us on Spotify, watch us on YouTube, and follow us on TikTok.